Yesterday, we saw a whopping 5 out of 10 games go into extra time. Let's discuss this rise in overtime games. Here's a graph that shows the total number of overtime and shootout games played each season. And on the far right is how many overtime and shootout games this season is on pace for. But the issue with this graph is as the expansion teams came into the league, the amount of games played increased. So looking at total games isn't exactly fair unless if you're comparing it to other seasons that played the same amount of games. But looking at each season by the proportion of games that went into overtime puts all seasons on a level playing field. Now you can clearly see just how big this rise is in extra time games. The salary cap era has been extremely consistent with 23% of games going into overtime. This number was actually declining in the last 2 seasons, but suddenly this year, 29.6% of games have been decided in extra time so far, which is by far the most in any season in the cap era. Even aside from overtime, just looking at the percentage of games that are decided by different amounts of goals, we can see how much closer games are this season and how rare blowouts are now. 49.5% of games have been decided by 1 goal, and only 3.3% of games have been decided by 5 or more goals, which is much lower than recent seasons. Because there's now been over 200 games played this season, this is more likely to be a new trend forming rather than a coincidence. I think this trend is occurring first and foremost due to the extreme amount of parity in the league right now, where top teams are not that much better than middle teams, and middle teams are not that much better than bottom teams. I also think we're seeing more conservative styles of play, where when a team has a lead in the third period, they try to protect it rather than building on it. If this topic interests you, be sure to check out the full article at slapshotbets.com. And also let me know your thoughts on this trend and if you like these close games.